Hello everybody, I hope you're all fine and safe at home. I'm Helen, Assistant Professor, belong to the Department of English. So today I'm going to present Fair Employment Practices Recruitment. What is fair employment practices here? It reduces the risk of lawsuit and promotes a productive work environment. And also, in other words, we can tell an atmosphere of trust among employees and customers. So, in the introduction, it is clearly given basis of equality without discrimination. Employers need to create an equal environment for their employees and refrain from discriminating against their gender, age, religion, martial status, etc. The next is how a selection process is done. So one ensures that a selection process is fair by creating a carefully structured interview process that reduces the chance of partiality and increases the objectivity. There are some techniques of fair employment practices. So I have listed out some 4 techniques here. Principles to adopt fair employment practices, selection document, fair recruitment initiative, hiring process more fair. What is principle to adopt fair employment practices? It is to treat the employees fairly with respect and implement progressive human resource management system. And also, a fair selection process consists of judging people on their ability to do the job, and it is not based on one's race, color, sex, age, etc. And the next is selection documents. There are some selection documents for hiring process. It is interview questions, interview matrix, ranking matrix, selection memorandum, etc. So all these notes are provided only by the panelist. And the next is fair recruitment initiatives. So fair recruitment plans helps to prevent the human trafficking and forced labors. And also they protect the rights of workers including migrant workers. From where the migrant workers are protected from abusive and fraudulent practices during the recruitment processes. And also they reduce the cost of labor migration and try to enhance development outcomes for migrant workers and families, as well as for the countries of origin and destination. And what is next? There are some ways to make your company hiring process more fair. I have given you some 6 ways here. Create a value-based process, identify disqualification reason, continue to review and improve the process, employee focused, level the playing field, and embrace the diversity from the get-go. So when we come to the first one, create a value-based process, what it is? A simple way to avoid discrimination during the hiring process is to take a value-based approach to hiring. Next, identify disqualification reasons. How can we identify here? Employers fail to provide information to candidates who do not receive job offers, so the companies should rethink this in action. Continue to review and improve the process. So how can we review here? So constantly they need to collect the candidates' feedback for hiring process. Employee focused. Why an employee is always focused? Because he needs some level of playing field, that is, in order to reduce or avoid the appearance of discrimination, the interviewer should ask each candidate the same set of questions. Embrace diversity from the get-go. So diversity, we know that it is very most important in the workplace because it builds a company with a unique dynamic and a strong ability to adapt. The next is recruitment. What is recruitment? I have given a simple sentence: the process of discovering potential candidates. So recruitment is a process of finding and attracting the potential resources for filling up the vacant position in the organization. In the other words, we can tell recruitment is a process of identifying the job vacancy, analyzing the job requirements, reviewing applications, screening, shortlisting, and selecting the right candidate. Recruitment usually has some goals here. It is used to attract the qualified applicants and also to encourage unqualified applicants to self-select themselves out. Next, recruitment can also be a two-way street. That is, an organization always looks forward for a qualified applicants. At the same time, the applicants also look forward for the emplacement opportunities. So recruitment is also done through the internet processes, that is job boards and employer websites. What is a job board here? A job board is a website used by the employers to advertise their job vacancies to job seekers. So the job seekers can use the job boards for searching purposes. Next, employer website, it deals with employment or careers. Internet recruiting methods is of two types, that is internal and external method. Before seeing the internal and external, let us see what is internet recruiting method advantages. It is of time saving, cost saving, expanded pool of applicants. Whereas in the disadvantages, more unqualified applicants are there, additional work is given to the HR. Many applicants are not seriously seeking the employment. When we come into the looking forward the internal advantages, they build up moral values. Employer and employers have some good relationship, and they know their candidate better, and they always be in the socialization. When we come across the disadvantages of internet recruiting, there is some misgood outside talent, there is no new ideas of development, need for more training for enhancing their skills and technology. In the external recruiting method, the advantages, there will be some new ideas sparking out immediately. They can handle the rapid growth, get people with updated knowledge, and they used to shake up the organization. Whereas in the disadvantages, there is some expensive, time consuming, hiring mistake, and they reduce promotion opportunities. So these are the internal and external advantages and disadvantages. And the next is constraints on recruitment. So what is constraints? That means the limitations. Why the limitations is given here? It is actually difficult to find and select a suitable candidate fit for the job. So that's why there are some few constraints here, that is image of the company, attractiveness of job, internal organization policy, recruitment cost. And the next is basic selection criteria. So usually there are some basic qualities for all the purposes of selection process here. So the first one comes under is education, and the next education always deals with the competencies, and remaining as follows here: experiences, knowledge, ability, skills, personality, interest, performance, other characteristics essential to job performance. There are some common interviewing mistakes usually done only with the non-verbal expressions. One is stereotyping, halo effect and halo horn effect, pressure to hire, contrast effect. So these four are major interviewing mistakes here. Red flag. So why we denote here this is a red flag? It is a warning sign that maybe we are given for the further investigation. That is, always they give unclear answers, unclear reason for leaving their jobs, always lack in their work, and inconsistency in salary. So all the employers are listed out of the business here. I hope you all understood this chapter very well, and if you have any queries can kindly ask me. Thank you.